what is a habit? A habit is something that we do repeatedly, and then after time, it becomes automatic. So let's think about it in the morning. The minute you wake up, what's the first thing you do? Do you just press snooze on your alarm, go back to bed? Do you pick up your phone and start scrolling? Do you jump out of bed and automatically spread your bed? Or do you just get straight up and run to the bathroom? This is something that you do without even thinking. This is not something that you planned on doing. The minute you get up and you hit that snooze button is because every time you wake up, that's the first thing you do. I want 5 more minutes of sleep. And you're automatically doing that. I know for me, at one point, I was getting in the habit of pressing the snooze so much is that you press the snooze and you didn't even know you pressed it. You woke up all late. I'm like, yo, what time is it? I didn't even hear my alarm. You heard your alarm. You just automatically press that snooze button and you don't even remember it because your body was doing it without you even thinking about it. So that's what a habit is. The habit is something that you do without even thinking. So the way habits are formed, they're formed by what we call the habit loop. So the habit loop consists of 3 things: the cue, the routine, and the reward. So the first step of that is the cue. The cue is the trigger that makes you think about starting that habit. So for example, we talked about waking up in the morning. So the cue is the alarm going off. So that starts your habit. So whatever you do after that is starts off by that alarm going off in the morning. Or the cue can be the minute you walk past your break room at work, you smell coffee. So now that makes you think about coffee. It makes you want to go get coffee. It's the cue. It's something that actually triggers in your mind. The doorbell rings, you go to the door. Your phone starts buzzing, you go to your phone. So the cue is that thing that triggers your mind to say, hey, it's time to do this thing that we repeatedly do. It's time to start that habit. The next step is the routine. The routine is that automatic thing that you do each time. So the routine could be hitting that snooze button. Because after you got the cue that the alarm went off, your mind automatically hits the snooze without you thinking. When you're passing that break room and you smell that coffee, the routine is to automatically going there and get a coffee. The cue might be, man, I'm so bored. The routine is I'm going to pick my phone up, I'm going to start scrolling. So routine is the thing that you're going to do after you get that cue. So it was the cue, that's the trigger. The routine is the thing that you're automatically doing. And the last thing is the reward. What did you actually get out of this? So the dangerous thing about the reward is that this is what reinforces the habit. If the reward is really good, every time you have a habit, you're going to continuously do it. So our first example, the alarm goes off, you hit the snooze, your reward is more sleep. So now you wake up, you feel rejuvenated because you got the sleep, because you pressed that snooze button. So now the next time that alarm goes off, you're more likely to press the snooze button because you remember how great you felt after hitting that snooze button. So other examples of this habit loop is smelling coffee. You smell coffee, you drink coffee, now you feel awake. The cue, doorbell rings, you go to the door, you're excited because it's an Amazon package. Cue, your dog barks, you take your dog outside, your dog uses the bathroom, you come back inside, your dog start barking, and you get peace and quiet again. So this habit loop is things you do automatically because of that reward. So that reward is very important to you. That makes you do it automatically without even thinking. So before I actually continue speaking about everything about habits, I want to actually let you know where my material came from. So this book is called The Power of Habit. It's a great book. This is the second time I'm actually reading it. But if you want a deeper insight of exactly what I spoke about today, definitely check this book out. It's a really good read. I'm going to be breaking it down pretty well. But if you need anything else, you want to read it more to get a lot more examples, read this book. This is really going to help you out a lot. So what I want to do next is break down the science behind habits, like why we actually have habits to begin with. So habits are put into place so we can do mundane tasks without actually thinking about it. So for example, brushing your teeth. That's something that you don't have to think about. You will do it automatically. But when you first brush your teeth, that was something that you had no idea how to do, and you actually had to think before you did it. You know, I'm helping my nephew when he was younger to brush his teeth. He didn't know what he was doing. He just put it in his mouth and just have it sitting there. I'm like, you got to move it around. You got to brush the top, brush the bottom. But this is stuff that we don't have to remember each time. So now it's a habit. So the minute you put that toothpaste on your toothbrush, now your body already remembers how to do it. If you think about the saying, it's just like riding a bike. Because the minute you learn how to do it, you don't have to relearn it. But when you first learned how to ride a bike, it was hard. You didn't know how to pedal right. You probably fell down a few times. But after you learn it, your body created habits of knowing exactly what to do the minute you get on that bike. You remember exactly what to do the minute you get in the car to drive the car. Things like that you don't forget. So we have the habits of remembering how to do these things so we don't have to keep learning new things over and over and over again. Once we learn it once, we have the habit of doing it, and now we're good to go. So I'm gonna get a little nerdy on y'all real quick, okay? So I'm gonna talk about your brain. So the part of your brain called the basal ganglia, that's a section of your brain that holds all things complex, and it holds it there and remembers how to do it. So when you do it again, it's easy. So for example, I recently had to help my sister. She has a restaurant. So I had to help her with the cash register at the restaurant. I never worked in retail. I never worked in fast food. I had no idea what I was doing. I was clicking buttons and I'm like, I don't know what any of these things do. But then there's some people that the minute they are behind a register, they know all the buttons they click, they can do it in 2 seconds. That's because their brain remembers the habit of doing it, and now they do it automatically. But somebody like me that's never done it, I'm going to have to learn it for the first time. So that's not something that was remembered in my brain to do. So our brain doesn't want to work hard every single time it does stuff. So the same way you want to not wash your dishes and automatically just throw it in the dishwasher, or you have your Tesla and you want it to be automatic drive so you don't have to do it, or you're just lazy and you don't want to do stuff. Our brain is kind of lazy as well. It doesn't want to be working super hard all the time. So it actually saves habits in our brain so when those things come up, we can automatically do it. But the dangerous thing about that is that now when we have a bad habit, when we have a cue that's not positive, our body still wants to automatically do it because that's comfortable. It remembers the minute you smell that pizza is like, okay, now it's time to eat pizza. Now my body feels better. Every time you hit that snooze button, it knows that we're going to feel comfortable because we got a bunch of sleep. Our brain wants to keep these habits going so we can use less energy and it can conserve our energy for more complex things. So like you think about like you're driving to work. Half of the time you're driving, you're not thinking about anything. You're just driving. You're able to be on the phone, listen to music. You know, people are texting and driving because they automatically know where they're going. They don't have to think about it. The first time you started that job, you didn't know where to go. I remember for me, the first time I went to work, I didn't know how to get there. I had the GPS. The GPS kept taking me 4 different ways. And I'm like, I'm never going to be able to remember this stuff. And my brain said, I don't want to remember 4 different ways to go to work. So now I found which one I like the best and I go there every single time. Now my brain don't have to think about where to go, where to turn, where to do these things. We do it automatically. And this is why habits are hard to break, because our brain doesn't want to break them. Our brain wants to use as least energy as possible. And the least energy is to do what we're always doing. So a habit of mine that's so hard to break is eating sweets. Every time I get the cue of smelling sweets, offered treats, cookies, cake, ice cream, anything, I'm gonna eat it. And then the reward is just feeling so great because this just tastes so good. I just feel like I'm on a cloud anytime I'm eating cake, anytime I got ice cream, cookies, can't any of that stuff. I just feel great. And that's a habit that's extremely hard to break, is because my body is just so used to doing it. It's so used to that reward of how I feel after eating it. It makes it hard to break, because the more and more and more and more I do it, the more and more my brain says, "Oh, we smell cookies. I want to eat the cookies." Anytime I'm offered a dessert, I want that. So it makes it harder to break, is because our body just wants to naturally do, what it's been doing. And then the reward that I get every single time I do it, it just makes the craving even more to now I want to do it again. And actually saying that, it made me sound like I'm an addict. Like I'm a sugar addict. It's because I love that feeling of getting that sugar and I'm gonna keep on doing it. And that's the same habits with, alcohol and drugs, is that they get that craving of doing that action is because that reward keeps coming and keeps making them want to do it over and over again. So now that we know this, how do we create new habits? So the first thing you want to do is actually define your goal. What exactly are you trying to do? So let's say, for example, me, I wanted to get in shape. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be muscular. That's the goal. That's the destination. You want to have that in your mind because you want to know what that reward is. The reward is to have a nice body, right? So this is a habit that you want to start to be able to get that nice body. So when you're actually doing this, you want to start small. You don't want to say, man, I'm ready to work out 7 days a week. That's impossible. If you haven't done something like that before, you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to trick your brain to be able to say, hey, brain, we're about to work out 7 days a week and we've never worked out before. It's not going to work like that. So you want to just start small. Let's just say 2 days a week. That's your goal. You want to make a habit of going to the gym twice a week. You start off by having that goal and having that plan that's starting off small and not going crazy when you first start. So the next thing you want to do is actually make your plan. So you already have the idea of to go to the gym twice a week. Now you're making the plan so this can actually happen. So the way we make the plan is by setting cues to make us, want to do this thing easier. So a super easy cue is to have your gym clothes ready. So let's say if you want to work out right after work, have your gym's clothes already in your room, on your bed, exactly what you want to wear. Make sure it matches so you don't gotta, maybe you get home, now you're out here thinking about what you're gonna wear, stalling. Now next thing you know, it's way too late and I don't feel like going to the gym no more. Just get that stuff there, have your gym shoes by the front door, and now the minute you get home, you could change and go because your cue was seeing them gym shoes and you knowing that, okay, boom, I saw them, now I need to go to the gym. So set cues in your life that the minute I see this, I know what action I need to take. So think about that for you, for yourself. Well, whatever you want to accomplish, let's say it's not go to the gym, have that cue of what you want to do and say, okay, I see this now. This is going to be able to do the routine that I want to do. The next thing you want to do is to control your environment. So if you're in the mindset of to get in shape and to work out, what you want to do, controlling your environment, is have things around you that are healthy. If you have a bunch of ice cream, cake, chips, and unhealthy foods, that's not the things that you're going to want to have and see. That's going to motivate you to go to the gym. So you want to control that environment by saying you're going to have nothing but fruits in there. You want to have, your fridge stocked with water. You want to have, brown rice and, lean meats in the fridge, things like that. So you're actually having that mindset of you're getting in shape, the whole time, not just when you're in the gym, because it's going to be a whole mindset shift. Because you don't want to start having cakes and stuff in your house and your mindset is to go to the gym. Now, the minute you get home, you're going to think about that cake. You're going to think about this stuff that's unhealthy and you're not going to change your exactly mindset to do that. Let's just say, for example, you want to, instead of going to the gym, you want to wake up early. If you want to wake up early, don't have that phone in your room when you go to bed. At one point, it was so bad for me to always go on my phone in the middle of the night. Every time, like I wake up and I'm like, man, let me check my Instagram. Let me check my TikTok. Let me see what somebody messaged me or something like that. Like I had a bad habit of doing that during the nighttime. And I was like, I can't have my phone in my room anymore. So basically what I did, I bought an old school alarm clock. I told y'all I'm old school. That's what I am. I bought an old school alarm clock. I put that in my room, set the alarm. My phone, I just put that out in the hallway. It helped me. It helped me not use my phone in the middle of the night. The minute I woke up, I wasn't going to say, man, let me get up and go out in the hallway to use my phone. That's OD. So now when I woke up, I looked at the alarm and I realized it wasn't time to wake up. I just went right back to sleep. So make sure you're controlling your environment because you don't want anything in your environment to make you fall back into a older habit of not going to the gym or not eating healthy. Have everything in that environment to make you stay on track to do what you want to do. So the next thing you want to do, you want to reward yourself. So you want to get that reward because we said the habit loop is the cue, the routine, and then reward. You want to make that reward kind of good. So now it's going to force you to want to do it. Every time you see the cue of your gym clothes, you're like, man, I got to go to the gym because I want that reward at the end. So a thing that I did for myself when I started my fitness journey is my reward was protein shakes. I had vanilla protein shake. I used it with almond milk. I put a banana in there. Sometimes I even put blueberries in there and they taste good. And I told myself, I'm not getting a protein shake unless I work out. I can't just sit around the house and get a protein shake. I had to work out to get that protein shake. So every time I worked out, at the end of the workout, I drank a protein shake. And I'm like, man, that was good. And the only time I could taste that protein shake again is after that workout. So when you're thinking about this, thinking about a reward, that's something that's going to make you want to do this over and over again. Because the more and more you do it, you're going to crave it. So now I'm craving this protein shake. So I know I'm going to be working out and I know I'm going to be getting that protein shake at the end. So find something that you could crave to make you want to keep doing that habit over and over again. And then next, you want to track your progress. See how good you're doing over time. If you want to do that 2 days a week in the gym, see after 3 weeks, how are you doing? Should you go up? Should you step it up? Because we got to make sure this is a habit. This is something that you're consistently doing it. So you want to track your progress. You want to stay consistent, doing it over and over. And then also you want to get a support group. You want to find people that are actually doing the same things that you're doing because whoever you have around you, that's the kind of person you want to be. So the more and more you're going to the gym, you're going to find people around you that's doing the same thing. You're in the gym. Don't be afraid to meet people in there. If you're a guy, you see a girl. If you're a girl, you see a guy. Don't be afraid to talk to them. You don't always got to be like, oh man, we're trying to hook up. I've met women in the gym before. It was never, ooh, we're trying to hook up. It's like, yo, I see you working and you see me working. Now you have a conversation and now it's like, all right, I'll see you in the gym tomorrow. And that's going to force you to say, man, I better get in the gym. I can't let these people down. So always try to build a community around what you're trying to do. And then you're going to help you actually, be consistent at it. So believe it or not, that's what Alcoholics Anonymous is about. It's about having a community so that now you have people that's going to help you stay on track. So I know we're not talking about addictions right now, but just using it from the other way of trying to find something new to change your life. You want to find people that are actually doing, similar things to you that actually are better than you at doing this. And now you're able to get hints from them on like, oh, what should I do to be able to, stay consistent in the gym? You wake up every day at 4 o'clock. What do you do to be able to wake up at 4 o'clock every morning? Things like that. But find people that are doing what you're doing or you're aspiring to be like, and then, speak with them, see how they're doing it. So now you can be able to take those same tips that they've done to do it, then do that in your own life. So now we're going to talk about the hard stuff, the actually changing a bad habit. This is going to be the hardest thing for you to do is because our bodies are doing it automatically. And over time, the reward is built up so much, we don't want to change this habit. Our brain doesn't want to change the habit. Our brain wants to be on autopilot and just doing it. But if we're trying to improve and be better us, we're going to have to actually do things to change that habit. So me, I love sweets. And if anybody offers me sweets, I'm going to say yes. So it's so hard for me to change that habit because my mind wants these sweets. So basically what you want to do first, you want to go back to that habit loop. You want to identify the cues that are going to actually make you do that bad habit. So we're going to get off healthy eating and working out and just move to something else because you might be saying, man, this doesn't relate to me at all. So we're going to switch it. We're going to say our phones, for example. And I wish I had my phone in here to do this explanation, but I don't because I was trying to record this and I know my habit is to be scrolling. So I didn't have my phone in here. So, hey, but we're going to fake like we got a phone. So for this example, we're going to be using our phones. So every time your phone vibrates, you check the phone and you start scrolling. You start seeing what's on your phone and scrolling. So basically the cue is the phone vibrating. So every time the phone vibrating, your mental says, hey, now it's time for me to scroll. Now it's time to feel better because I'm laughing at all this stuff that's on my phone. We can use that cue to our advantage. So we know the cue is the phone vibrating, right? So instead of the phone vibrating about notifications, turn those notifications off. Now what you want to do is use your phone, go to your calendar, and set productivity times. So let's say 2 o'clock comes around. You want to set the calendar. Don't forget to read your book. So now the cue is the phone beeping. You hear your phone beeping, you check it out, and now your phone says, hey, read your book. Now you're like, oh man, let me read my book. So instead of scrolling, your notification is telling you to do something productive. So you still have that same cue, but now your routine switches because instead of seeing a text message, instead of seeing a phone call, instead of seeing somebody message you on Instagram, now you're seeing something do productive. And now you're using that same cue of that phone vibrating. Now you're able to do something totally productive instead of that. So things like that are going to help you do things daily. So you want to think about your daily cues. What are the things that happen in your life daily that makes you do something that's not productive? So the perfect example, like I said, is your phone vibrating, because that's going to happen all the time. And something that I've been doing that honestly I didn't even realize was a cue until I read that book is that I put my journal right next to my bed. So instead of having my phone there and then every time I'm waking up and that's the first thing I see, so guess what? I'm picking up that phone to check notifications. The first thing I'm seeing is my journal because I know I'm going to look at my nightstand when I wake up. And now the first thing that I see is that, and it reminds me to say, hey, Jalon, you have to actually write in your journal today. So always put things, places where you're going to be looking at. So instead of having that remote control for the TV there, have something else there. So now when you see that for there, instead of saying, hey man, I'm gonna see the remote, turn the TV on, you got something else there. Instead of having cookies in your cabinets, have some trail mix. Instead of having cake in the fridge, have apples, have oranges. So now when you're looking at these places, you're seeing those things that made you do a bad habit. Instead of doing that bad habit, you're doing a good habit because you're seeing good things instead of, those negative things. But all of that sounds really good. Like, oh man, this sounds like this is going to be easy for me. I'm really going to be able to break my bad habits. And it's not going to be that easy, because the thing about it is that when stress comes into our life, it makes it so easy to go back to those bad habits because our mind is like, man, I'm so stressed. I want to have that reward that I've been craving that I haven't been getting for a while, So like when I'm stressed out, I don't want to wake up at 4:30 and work on podcast material or go to the gym. I don't want to do that when I'm stressed out. I want to just hit that snooze button and go back to sleep because habits never leave us. Habits are in our mind all the time. Our body wants to go back to those old habits because we remember them. The same way we remember how to ride a bike every time we get on a bike, we remember those bad habits. We remember to hit that snooze button. We remember to scroll on our phone all day and waste our time. We remember to watch Netflix. We remember to eat that cake, eat that ice cream, eat those cookies. Remember not to work out. So when that stress comes, when we have that feeling of being super sad, super upset, we want to find something quick to make us feel good for the moment. And that's not going to be the best thing for us long term, especially thinking of someone that might be addicted to something. They go back to that. Now that's all they do, So you want to really make sure that when you have those times of stress or those times of being, super upset or super sad, is that you just keep that mindset of, I don't want to go back to the person that I was before. You want to have that faith that God says, yo, I can change. I don't have to be the same person that I was. I know this is kind of turning into more of like, oh man, my bad habit is not that bad. Like it's really not. Yeah, it kind of is, because that bad habit is stopping you from being the person you're supposed to be. That bad habit is stopping you from having that life that you're supposed to have. It's stopping you from getting those blessings that God has in store for you. So you need to break these bad habits that you have. So they're very serious. So like I said, if you are stressed out, if you're upset, you're sad, Stick to the game plan of, doing those good habits. Don't pick back up those bad habits that you have, because you're not going to be able to get that life that you desire.